the most underrated guy code rule. Story 1. You never complain about the brand of beer if it's free. The only acceptable complaint is the temperature, and even then, it has to be in a joking manner. Story 2. When I was younger and my friends and I went to bars with the idea of meeting women, I witnessed a recurring pattern. Friend meets someone, breaks the ice, manages to get her to come over and meet his friends, but then it starts to fizzle, and like clockwork, he goes to the bathroom. I don't know if this is like a mental anxiety reset, or they are looking in the mirror to psyche themselves up or what, but I decided whenever this sort of opportunity pops up, I will brag about something they do or did while they are gone. Do you like animals? You should ask him about the box of kittens he rescued. When they get back, instead of being ghosted or greeted with, "Well, it was nice meeting you," they usually get asked questions about what I was talking about and have another whole conversation. Story 3. If your bro calls you in the middle of night and says, "Hey, are you just in case up for a coffee?" You just say, "Where do we meet?" No question asked. They won't never casually call you like that except something bad happened and they need to talk with someone. Story 4. Pretty sure that no one else calls it this, but gorilla math. As you know someone for longer and longer, it gets fuzzier and fuzzier who is ahead or behind when it comes to who has been picking up tabs. I could owe my best friend 10,000 in bar tabs, hotel rooms, taxis, and concert tickets, and it wouldn't surprise me. He could owe me that much and that wouldn't shock me either. At this point, it's all a big wash. It's gorilla math. It's not the most important part of guy code, but it's the most underrated for me. It's very liberating to be with people that value time spent together over money. It's wonderful to buy a round and hand them out to friends, and none of them need to verbalize any promise of repayment, because we have all bought so many rounds for each other that at this point, absolutely pure generosity is commonplace. Expected, guaranteed. Gorilla math causes the ultimate dude moments. Acts of kindness with no words needed. We stopped counting ages ago. Story 5. Not sure if this is guy code or not. When you are getting on the elevator first in a crowd of people, point to the buttons. You don't have to speak. You don't have to acknowledge anything or anyone. Just point to the buttons. People will tell you what button to press. If you choose to not possess this awesome responsibility, don't go near the panel. Story 6. You call, they come. No questions, no hesitation, no buildup. You're truly deep in the with no life raft. Call and they will come, regardless of the time or weather. I had male friends growing up, and one of them gave me this call. He called and asked, "Hey man, I need some milk from Kroger." Like right now. It was 11:30 at night. I know this dude. He doesn't cook and not at night. He'd go to Taco Bell first. We call it a milk run to this day. No questions asked. You calling him there. Talked until probably 3, 4 in the morning. I don't regret even a picosecond. I cherish it. Glad I could be there for you, Liam. Wish we still talked. Story 7. As a woman who grew up with 3 brothers, I noticed they never acknowledge each other at the urinal. Like, ever. Even if they're best friends. It's straight faces and eyes forward. Pretty fascinating unspoken rule if you ask me. Story 8. If you put 12 beers in his fridge, then only drink 8, you just gifted your buddy 4 beers. The next time he is over, the same thing may happen. It's the circle of beer. He might end up spotting you beers sometimes if you run out, or if you are there just for 1, 2. And vice versa. The exception is if this ends up becoming incredibly one-sided. Story 9. Do not, for any reason in the world, try to steal your friend's girl or ex. It's the most disgusting thing in the world, yet some people try to justify it as normal. No, it's not, and you are a piece of if you do this. Story 10. Knowing when to stop poking fun right before it reaches the point of you getting punched in the mouth. A lot of women are oblivious to this rule and take the trash talking too far when they're trying to act like one of the guys. Nobody is going to punch them, so the rule doesn't apply and they don't realize there are boundaries. Story 11. I tried helping a guy change a tire once since he was struggling. He was young and was trying to loosen the lugs with the wheel already off the ground. Turns out he was on a first date and never changed one, so I acted like I was just a friend that stopped to say hello and just gave him instructions on how to do it, so it didn't make him look less manly. Hope it worked out for him. Story 12. One day in 11th grade, a guy spilt water all over the front of his pants and it looked like he peed himself. Not even wasting a second, his friend poured water all over the front of his own pants. They both burst out into the most eating grins. So yeah, that. Story 13. I'm really surprised the urinal rule is the one mentioned most. It's not an underrated rule. It's standard procedure. The most underrated guy code rule is that if a bro is doing something and asks for help, you help. You don't brag. You don't rub it in his face. You get in there and you get it done together. Guys are so reluctant to ask for help that being asked is the highest and most prestigious compliment a guy can receive. Furthermore, if you ask for help and a bro says no, he is no bro. He's an enemy in disguise. Steal your girl, drink the last beer, order the most expensive item on the menu, and then want to split the check. Has a parasite and should never be included. This rule is what differentiates the boys between the men. It is timeless. It is classic. It is bro code. If the question is, was he with you? Then the answer is yes. Story 14. If a guy's close to you, You can't slight him. You can't slight that guy. A real grievance can be resolved. Differences can be resolved. But an imaginary hurt, a slight, that gonna hate you till the day he dies. Hoffa. Story 15. That most of the time it's not about being typical traits of being just a guy. It's okay to rant, cry, and just support each other. Ones who shame you for it aren't your true friends. Story 16. If you find out that the girl you've slept with, gone on a date with, or heavily flirted with has a boyfriend husband that you didn't know about beforehand, then you need to tell that man or a friend of that man. If you know your boy's girlfriend wife is cheating, then as hard as it may be, you tell your boy. You also need to provide evidence. Story 17. If your friend is getting into a fight, stand well back so nobody can see you. Wait there until the confrontation's over, then stride back into the crowd and tell everyone that you were just about to punch that guy. Story 18. Don't put down other men your friends in front of a girl to try and impress her. She will probably see you doing this, think you're desperate, insecure, and reject you anyways. Also, it's just a shitty thing to do to someone. Story 19. 1. Do not expect to be rewarded for following guy code. 2. Do not reward anyone for following guy code. 3. Do not acknowledge the existence of anything called guy code. Setting aside that different friend groups have their own implicit understandings and behavioral norms, the 3 I listed are the only rules that you can bet the house that every man everywhere you ever meet will always obey all the time no matter what. Story 20. When your bro introduces you to a usually female person he's speaking with, but doesn't use their name, you immediately reply by saying, "Nice to meet you. And what was your name again?" And make sure they answer loudly enough for your bro to hear as well. Story 21. Don't go with an ex of a friend. My relationship has ended 14 months ago. If my best mate all of a sudden tells me how he's dating her, we're A, gonna have a good long conversation about why he shouldn't do that, regardless of how I'm feeling. B, why he shouldn't do it in regards of how I feel. And C, while I know you can't steer love, it's probably better for us to stop hanging out until he ditches her. Story 22. Always leave an empty urinal between you and a person already there when going to toilet. Only when no other space is available, including stalls. Don't ever stand directly next to a dude at the urinals. Story 23. A man of his word. Say what you mean and mean what you say. Some examples. If I say something, it's always what I believe to be true, even if I believe it's not what the person wants to hear. If I promise to support you if called upon, then I will do so, no questions asked. Having my word means something is one of the most important things to me as a man. Story 24. If your buddy spent a day doing something like yard work, fixing a fence, patching up drywall, or any other type of home repair, it's required to nod and compliment him for a job well done, even if it looks like. Story 25. As a woman, I find it hilarious that almost every other answer in this thread is about urinal etiquette. It just never occurred to me that that was a thing. Story 26. If they come and say, "I need your help," I can't tell you what it is, you can never ask me about it later, and we're gonna hurt some people, you have to respond with, "Whose car we gonna take?" Story 27. If you have to have a serious conversation about an emotional thing with your bro, schedule an activity that won't require eye contact while having it. It's way easier for both bros to talk about how sad you are if you talk about it while fishing. Story 28. Urinal law. Never take a urinal next to one use, better known as the gap law. If skipping a urinal is not possible, take an end urinal so that only one person has to leave to create the gap. If taking an end is not possible, check the actual stalls to see if one is open. Do not talk at the urinal. This is forbidden in the old laws handed down from our ancestors. There is a drunk exception that allows full conversation and bonding with strangers while at the urinal. Nobody has to be taught these laws. They come with us fully formed a priori. Edit if at all sports stadium with the old bathtub-style urinals. 2 people at each, one at each corners but slightly turned at a 45-degree angle towards your end. Story 29. Seeing a couple of recognizable ones on here, but just wanted to throw in a somewhat more personal one for my friend in D group. At least when the WhatsApp group gets called, everyone picks up. It's never something serious. And this originates out of a misclick. The guy who pressed call had no time to cancel. Everyone was in that call within a few seconds. XD, so it's more of a fun, quirky thing we do than a guy code rule. But yeah, that's one of our rules. Story 30. This one is more just code than guy. But if someone is treating you to dinner, especially in a group, don't order something expensive. Be polite and just get the chicken. Story 31. If your bro ever has such a bad day that he actually cries it out, family member dies, terrible health news, life event that is really horrific, never bring up that he cried or insult him. If he's willing, you take him to grab a bite or buy drinks and shut up until he talks to you. Story 32. 1. Never take the last one. Beer, slice, whatever. 2. Pay for help with a beer or pizza. Bonus both. Never cash. 3. Don't talk about your ex or your current SO in a negative light, unless it's critical as to why you or they called. 4. Don't talk about their ex or their current SO in any light, just nod if they do. Never do this. 4. Don't share your day-to-day struggles, but do share your most important struggle. No small stuff. We all deal with. 5. Talk about what you hope to do, behave someday. Sharing ideas. 6. If he calls you out of the blue, it's a yes, no matter what it is, because he needed you enough to call. 7. Do not lie about anything for any reason. If he asks if he looks fat in them jeans, you say, yes, you fat. Story 33. After getting home from hanging out with your buddies, when your wife GF asks you what did you guys talk about, did Todd talk about his divorce? The response is A, not much. We just watched the game and had a few beers. And then she will ask, how can you hang out for 3 hours and not talk about Todd's ex? And your next response is, well, he never brought it up. There is no reason to overshare details. Not much is a perfect response and no need to elaborate. This also applies to friends at work. Goes without saying, if your friend is struggling, definitely seek guidance and support from your wife and others. I share everything with my wife, serious and minor, but never gossip, my friends tell me, unless it is necessary. Story 34. We protect each other's own. I protect your girl if she's around me. You protect mine when she's around you. I protect your family and property and vice versa. You go to war, I go to war. Work together. You're away, I pull security, etc. Even if your girl wife hates me, I protect her wherever we go. Of course, same for kids, cars, property, food, coolers, and tools. Story 35. All bros have a no questions, no comments trigger that completely alters the understanding of a conversation. For example, my boys and I have a phrase where, if any one of us says it, the remainder of the conversation is meant to be had without a hint of irony, and nobody questions it or talks about the conversation later. It's meant as a way to get confessions out in a safe and respectful manner, or allow the boys to get something off their chest. If our girlfriends are making us feel a certain way, if we need help hiding a body, if we're seriously considering some life-altering new path, we confide in the boys and have a real conversation with no jokes. Story 36. There's a mutual infinite number of less than 20 spots. If I'm going in the gas station to grab something and you want something too, I got you. Goes both ways. It's not even talked about. Goes without saying. Story 37. That when they ask you if you're okay, you answer honestly, and then ask them the same question back. We've lost too many good ones to not follow this rule. Story 38. If your friend's girl is mad at him, you don't take her side publicly even if he's wrong. Handle it in private, but in front of others, you ride for your boy. Loyalty first, judgment later. Story 39. When you're in a group with your bro and his crush, you talk him up, put yourself down, and make him look like a stud. You do not promote yourself and put him down or even tease him, even though it's really hard to deactivate that default bro mode of talking and teasing. Story 40. If you say you're going to be somewhere, you show up and at least close to on time. And if you can't, you better ask forgiveness with an explanation. Story 41. When invited to a BBQ or party, always bring a six-pack of your host's favorite drink. Even if he says there is no need to bring anything, just bring it. And when you go home, leave it at his house. Story 42. If you call me in the middle of the night, I will come immediately. No questions asked. I will also laugh at you and your situation as much as I feel is appropriate, required, or annoying once I get there, before, during, and after I help you. Then we will laugh about it together forever once we are done burying the body. Story 43. I am happy to see how many of these comments are just about showing up for each other, especially when asked. I've not always been the best brother to my brothers, but that is the one thing I have made sure they understand. No matter the circumstances, if they call for my aid, I will be there immediately and we can handle whatever is going on together. Story 44. If you own a truck or specialty tool, the whole group has a truck tool. Your project is my project. Doing that project yourself always saves just a little bit more than your buddy needed for that new thing he wanted, at least as long as his wife is within earshot. If there is an accident or injury, it is always the equipment's fault, and the solution is always an upgrade. Story 45. The sniff test. If another guy tells you to smell something, you smell it. If you tell another guy to smell something, he is obligated to take a whiff. Doesn't matter what it is or why they are asking, you just do it. Story 46. You never complain about times when work is boring, when you find yourself getting paid your standard rate to do nothing. You enjoy that time and hope it lasts as long as possible, especially when you're on overtime. Story 47. If you are thinking about dating your friend, 1. If your friend was not in love with her, you are required to ask first, and your friend is required to say yes. 2. If your friend was in love with her, she is off limits if you want to keep your friend. Never pursue your friend. Don't in the urinal next to me if there are open spots. Story 48. You don't say about a buddy or anything they've done. Had an incident in high school where I got caught running from security, and I got away, hopped a fence, and was gone. Long story short, they called all of my friends in to see if they would give something up. No one said. Not a word, except to verify that they saw me in class, or saw me in the hall later in the day. Not a word. There has been other things that have come up. I know things about my friends my wife will never know, and they know things about me. Story 49. The nod of mutual understanding. When you see another guy in a place he clearly doesn't want to be, like waiting outside a store's dressing room or holding a purse, you make brief eye contact, give a short downward nod, and continue on. No words are exchanged, but everything is understood. Story 50. When it's your turn to buy the next round, don't turn into Patrick Swayze. Doesn't matter if you're drinking non-alcoholic drinks. You get shouted a drink, you buy a round. All this is moot if you're the designated driver before Uber. Edited. Story 51. When peeing at a urinal, always leave a one urinal buffer if the option is available. If one is absolutely forced to take the urinal next to someone else, head must remain forward and up at all times, except when shaking putting away. Story 52. You can confiscate your bro's keys if they are drunk. You can confiscate his wallet if he is about to do something real stupid, like trying to take money out of a credit card for strippers, gambling, booze, etc. Story 53. There is proper urinal etiquette. Follow it. Here's some of it. Empty bathroom, go to the furthest space. Someone using a urinal, put one space as a buffer between you. No space to buffer any space is valid. Choice between regular height and low urinal. Always leave a low urinal for people with disabilities. Put your hips square to the urinal, head forward and down, and stand in tight. No long-range peeing. No conversations with people at urinals. No peeking at others' biz or eye contact. Don't loiter unless you're waiting to go or wash up afterwards. Farts are fine, you're in a bathroom. Don't pee anywhere but in the provided receptacle. Aim for the urinal cake. Story 54. If your buddy comes by with a new car, you must now continue your conversation around his vehicle for at least the next 30 minutes to an hour, moving spots to view the car from different perspectives, all while continuing your conversation. You don't even have to be talking about the car, just be there to appreciate it for your buddy. Story 55. 50-50 cash fine. When we were kids, we would often find euro notes of various values. Instead of arguing or scrambling to get it, we always agreed to just split it. We've never had a money quarrel in 30 years.